Welcome back to the old grappler. Today I'm here in Tracy, California with Alika.
Yes, sir.
I'll let you introduce yourself, where you train, what belt level you are, and we'll
For
go from
sure.
there.
For sure. My name is Alika Foster. Do I look at the camera or look at you? Doesn't matter. All right. My name is Alika Foster. Trained out in Tracy, California, originally from Stockton. I'm a brown belt under Javier Gomez and Kalani Foster, and I've been training for upwards of 20 years now. Yeah,
Wow.
pretty long, long fucking journey. Yeah. I started when I was 8, 9, 2004. Yeah, that's when I started.
Just in the youth program.
Not even. So when I started like jiu-jitsu back in early 2000s, it was so how do you call it? Like raw and pretty mental. I just started because my dad started training MMA at the time,
Hmm.
and I grew up doing boxing and eskrima, so we were already in martial arts. But he would just take me to the gym, place called the Ice House in downtown Stockton, and it was just like be beating the shit out of each other all the time. Well, he got introduced to the ground game by one of his friends at the time, my uncle Alfred.
Hmm.
And he was like, "Yeah, you have hands, but how can you do on the ground?" So after one jiu-jitsu class, my dad was like, "Hey, you gotta come with me. If anything, just sit and watch." So I was just a young kid off to the side of the mat watching everybody roll. Then after a while, they started bringing me on, rolling with like the lighter adults and stuff like
Hmm.
that. And I actually started taking pretty well, so started from there. And I was the only kid at the time. Yeah, so
Jeez.
it was pretty fun. It was gnarly experience.
Like to be in the adult class as the kid, right? Like,
Yeah, and it wasn't anything too different from what I've experienced before. Just because I was always the young kid with the older guys training.
hmm.
We were doing a scream or boxing in the backyard, and I always be the younger one, getting the moves tried on. So the environment or just being there wasn't necessarily awkward or new for me. It was just exciting. I was like, oh, like I'm not sitting on the fucking couch anymore, just twiddling my thumbs. Like I can actually do something.
Hmm.
So it was a good outlet for me. And the next thing you know, I started wrestling soon after, and then just grappling for me kind of took off. Yeah.
So the wrestling, just like on the youth level.
Yeah. So I started wrestling a little bit sometime after I started jiu-jitsu. And then started my youth wrestling at Stockton Elite. Used to be at St. Mary's High School.
Yeah.
And then went all the way up to high school, went to Lincoln all 4 years, and then wrestled for Lincoln. Yeah. You said you coach at Los Banos?
Yeah.
Like, I know a few guys from Los Banos. Rico Quintana.
Yes.
Yeah, we were on the national team together,
Okay.
national and regional team together. So
He
I know a group of those guys.
so that there was a group of those guys then.
Hmm.
Um, there's like 7 of them, and they still all hang out.
Yeah,
Like my son's one of them.
that's what's up.
So
Hell yeah.
yeah, it the wrestling part that's taken me to coaching wise has taken me like outside of California
No, for
quite
sure.
a few times
For sure.
to
Yeah.
to get that in. That's crazy. Small world.
Small world. Small world. Yeah. Fucking Rico. I know there was another Rico. It was a taller one.
That's my son.
That's your son?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Marcus.
He's funny. He's a cool guy.
Yeah.
I remember him if you ask him about me, ask him about Idaho. We had a good time in Idaho.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was fun. Had Western regionals out there. Took trips to the hot springs,
Hmm.
Training was crazy too. I remember being in that camp for 2 weeks just with the amount of talent in one room. So
Crazy.
it was a nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was probably like the best training I've had as far as wrestling goes, like in a cool minute at that time. Yeah.
That's funny. That's
Yeah.
cool. Small world.
Small ass world. Small ass world.
Shit. No, my kid.
Shout out to your son.
Yeah. Cool. So getting into jiu-jitsu, like how long were you training before you started competing?
So I think I probably started competing pretty much right away as soon as we could find tournaments. Not at the time, it wasn't like how it is now.
Oh,
CBBL was around still. You know, you walk into a high school gym, $20 registration fee for whatever division you want to sign up for.
mm-hmm.
So we would just go to like NJC or fucking one of these junior colleges where they were holding them at. And it would be the same time they would do like taekwondo in the back of the gym, and then in the front have like 3-4 mats for jiu-jitsu and shit. So it was we did a lot of those when I was younger, and then in high school. But in high school, I tried to focus more on wrestling. So jiu-jitsu was mainly like, you know, on my off time or off season,
Mm-hmm.
you know, on the weekends, just to keep up with it. But I took a pretty long break after high school, ended up joining the military, and then did my 3-4 years before I came back.
What branch?
Army.
Nice.
Yeah. So it was good. It was a fun experience.
Yeah.
I still trained out there. Just the level of jiu-jitsu at the time, it was super basic from when I left here. But then, you know, like training on post, I was lucky enough to get a spot to work at the Fight House on post. So like my last year there, I was just teaching combatives classes through the Fight House and for my company. So still training, but different application for the techniques, obviously. Yeah.
So how did that come about? Like, how did you end up being an instructor for the combatives?
So I got in, and I didn't know that there was a Fight House there. But after about a year or so, they said they were holding a combatives tournament on post. So like, cool, like sign me up. I want to put my name in there. Did the tournament, ended up winning the tournament, and then the master sergeant that ran the Fight House at the time, Master Sergeant Mosley, he walked up to me and was like, "Hey, like, seem like you have experience. You're pretty good. Like, do you want to get fast tracked through level 1 cert, level 2 cert, so you can start teaching?" And I was like, "Yeah, yes, sir. Let's do it."
That's
Yes,
cool.
Sergeant. Yes, Master Sergeant. But then got a rapport with him, and then ended up meeting all the guys that were at the Fight House. They all took me under their wing, and then I was just able to really hone my skills there as far as coaching and teaching goes.
Mm-hmm.
Growing up, I was always like helping my father out with whatever he was doing as far as martial arts does and coaching, because he did like a lot of Eskrima privates and stuff for people. So I would always watch him teach and coach. But then by the time I got to New York and I was able to do the whole combatives thing, I was able to really find my style of teaching out there.
When you went into the military,
Mm-hmm.
what belt level were you?
Blue belt. Yeah, so I got my blue belt at 16. Yeah, pretty young. I got it in high school. And then at the time, we were still competing pretty frequently, but I was still jumping between jiu-jitsu and wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
And while I was in high school, the goal was to get a scholarship, go to college, and then wrestle somewhere. It ended up happening that way. But, you know, I took a different turn. I still ended up doing what I love at the end.
Yeah.
So it was a blessing in disguise, honestly. Yeah.
Nice. So the combatives there kind of got your feet wet into teaching.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, teaching on my own. Because normally, like, when I would help assist or run a class, I would always have, like, you know, my dad there or a mentor to kind of watch over.
mm-hmm.
With me, I had free reign to really do or teach how I wanted. Plus, they made it really easy. Everything was by the book. So it was like, as long as I checked these off the list as far as what needs to be learned that day or taught, it was pretty easy. Yeah. So,
so some kind of curriculum that they had already like predetermined.
Yeah, they had their own booklets and stuff to follow. So it was pretty easy as far as teaching goes. Yeah, they gave me step by step. I just had to, you know, practice speaking or being in a room full of people, trying to control the room. You know? For me, that's pretty important as a coach, being able to control the room. Yeah. You know,
I agree. Yeah.
Motherfuckers who run around rapping and shit, start talking while you're trying to teach. Like, motherfucker, shut the fuck up. Like, Jesus Christ. Like, do you know what the fuck I'm teaching right now? No. Listen up.
I think my favorite thing to tell somebody is like, like when you're talking, can you hear me? It's like it is physically impossible for you to hear me if you're talking.
Yes.
And they just look at you like, what? Yeah,
Like they
maybe you
can't
should stop
comprehend it. I'm
talking.
like, yeah, dude, like I'm like, don't be confused, man. But I mean, everyone here, like they know pretty much how I teach and how I coach. And then the new people that come in, they take pretty quickly because everybody's trying to get them on track.
Hmm.
But I'm not like a hard ass or anything. I'm pretty lenient as far as that goes. You know, it's like, hey, when we're coming in and I'm trying to show you guys something, like listen up because I'm probably going to show this once, maybe twice,
Hmm.
right? But no, it's teaching out when I was in New York at the Fight House was a really good practice for me. Really good practice. Also, just being out there alone, growing up, having to, learn all these life skills without really having any supervision there was a big challenge too.
So
Yeah.
you went to military right out of high school?
Right out of high school. So graduated and then I was like, all right, well, I had partial scholarships to go to a few colleges, but I didn't want to take those. I already knew I was going to kind of fuck off anyway. I was like, oh, let's be honest, mom and dad, I'm just going to go over there and waste your money if you're going to send me, so I might as well just start working and I'll just party. Started working, partying, got old after like 3-4 months, went to the recruiting office. I was like, hey, dude, just sign me up for whatever. Um, Ended up taking a bit longer as far as the process goes because my recruiter at the time, Staff Sergeant Sin, he was a family friend. So the jobs that I wanted to apply for in the beginning,
Hmm.
he was like, yeah, no, pick something else. He was like, you don't want that job. Like, you're going to come out fucked up. Like, you don't want to be like that. Like, pick something safe. So my job going in was 92 Whiskey, which is a water purification specialist. I was basically a water boy. Yeah, I was basically a fucking water boy. There's a movie about it with Pauly Shore.
Uh-huh.
It's called In the Army Now. Fuck,
Oh.
that's the job. That's the fucking job. And I didn't know about that movie up until after I signed up.
Oh,
And then I
shit.
watched the movie. I was like, man, I don't want to fucking do this shit. But by the time, I already signed the paperwork, I couldn't change my job anymore. I was already in due process. I was like, fuck it, man, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it ended up being pretty cool. I learned a lot of shit. I didn't really have to do my job. Fort Drum in New York. No one really knows about it. It's like America's best kept secret. It's a light infantry unit. So they deploy rapidly all the time. And we would always hear horror stories in basic and AIT about, hey, you don't want to go to New York. You don't want to go to Fort Drum because they'll ship your ass out in like a month. We're like, fuck, all right, well, I don't want to go to New York. In basic, they give you a sheet and they say, hey, list 3 places that you want to end up at and list 3 places you don't want to go. Number 1 for me was New York. I don't want to go to New York. Got my orders. You're going to New York. I was like, you fucking motherfuckers, man. Should have sent me to Korea. Like, I hear better shit about Korea. But ended up in New York. And then, luckily, the company I was in, I got there. I had just missed the deployment. So I missed it by a week. Everybody had already left. And then by the time they came back, we were ready to go ahead and deploy 3-4 other times. I even volunteered twice. They all fell through. So it just wasn't meant to be. Yeah. After my last one I volunteered for, I was supposed to go to Honduras on a humanitarian mission.
Mm-hmm.
It was going to be a pretty sweet deal too. They were going to give me my own squad. I was going to go ahead and run my own missions. And then that fell through. I was already coming up on my last year. They asked me if I wanted to re-up, and I was like, nah. You had your chance to use me, just get me the fuck out. Like, I'm good. Trying to throw bonuses at my way and shit. I'm like, no, I don't want a bonus.
Yeah.
I just want to get out of here. I want to go back home.
Yeah, I see a lot of the guys are do that term and that's it. We're out.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to say it was a bad experience. It wasn't. It's just, it was really easy. You just have to show up right place, right time, right uniform, follow directions. So as far as that goes, it's like it was really easy. It's just having to deal with people, and then there's always a new rotation of people every 2-3 years. So you never stay in one spot for long unless you want to stay there.
Right.
And that is kind of going in. It wasn't what I expected it to be. I thought it was going to be pretty hard nosed, and they're going to like push you to the limit, this and that. What you see in the movies and stuff. It wasn't like that at all. So it kind of turned me off in the beginning.
I think so. I kind of have the same kind of thought when I went to basic.
Yeah.
Nothing compares to a 2-hour wrestling practice.
No.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, so when I went and mind you, so wrestling season ended. I went right out of high school too.
Nice.
Wrestling season ended. I was 170 pounds, working out every day.
Yeah.
Right. And then I went to golf team.
Nice.
Walking the fairways and put on 40 pounds. And when it was time to leave, the recruiter was like, "What the fuck happened?" I was like, "Well, I'm not fucking wrestling no more." Like,
Yeah.
So diet private, boom, go. And I was like, "Fuck, this is gonna suck even more now." But boot camp was easy.
Yeah, boot camp was cake.
Like I couldn't. Like you said, you see the movies and they got in our face, they yelled, but fuck, I was used to that. My dad was a Marine too. Shit, like I was like, okay, I went through that. We're already getting down to the wire on finishing boot camp, and they were like trying to get me to change MOSs. Like, no, we need you to do this, and I'm like, fuck that. I'm cool. Like, I have a plan. Like, you're not gonna change me from my plan. And but towards the end, like they would bring me up like they did the tallest to shortest. So I was always in the back. They would bring me up to like combat with the other big guys.
Yeah.
Probably because of the wrestling, right? Like, but towards the end, one of my drill instructors was like heavily recruiting me to do something else. And I'm like, nah, I'm cool.
Yeah.
I'm all right. Like, I don't need to change what my thought process is.
And, no, for sure.
Like, I have a plan. I'm going to use the military for school and all,
These guys, man, they'll try and get you. They're like, nah, you can switch to this job, get like 20,000 in a bonus, you'll be set. I'm like, nah, not from what I hear. I'm good. We're straight.
And now it's like, shit, I don't even know now. Sometimes I see some of the guys that are
coming in. Man, it's crazy. Honestly, that's what surprised me the most. Me going into basic and seeing like the kind of people coming in versus the people that make it. It's surprising, but it's surprising they even let you sign up anyway. Because you would think that they have some sort of requirement, I guess. I guess if you're just able-bodied, right? You're volunteering, so what else are they gonna do?
They're gonna try to whip you back into shape.
Try to put you in shape and try to mold you, and then hey, all you have to do is follow order. You'll be good.
Yeah,
it was fun. Basic, it wasn't that hard at all. That we had our shark week, and that wasn't even crazy. And following orders is pretty fucking easy. Like growing up, my parents were like super hard on me growing up, so I was always pretty respectful and disciplined anyway.
Right.
Coming in, just like being quiet and then saying, yes, drill sergeant, no drill sergeant wasn't a thing. Some people really had a problem with that. I'm like, dude, all you have to do is just shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Like, Jesus Christ.
Yes, sir, no, sir. And stay quiet.
That's it. And then that experience kind of turned me off. But the experience, like, say, in the barracks and stuff was pretty fucking fun. We would always have like fight nights on Friday nights and Sundays. Like, basically all weekend. We run our own combative stuff. They're like, all right, well, we're not throwing hands, but you know how to wrestle? You know how to grapple? Um, and I was normally the quiet guy, but everybody would always come up to me anyway because of my ears. Yeah, like, oh, like you wrestle, and I just like looking like, nah, I don't do shit. And next, someone's trying to call me out, and I'm fucking everybody up, taking their commissary, making some money. They're like, yeah, go ahead, keep it coming, keep it coming. So basic was fun in that regard. Earned a lot of respect from people, and then that kind of helped carry over to AIT. So by the time I got to Fort Lee, Virginia, like there was already people talking, and I would like going around. They'd see my name tag, like, "Oh, you're such and such from Alpha Company 213, right?" And I was like, "Yeah." Like, how'd you hear about me? Like, oh, I heard you're badass, dog. I was like, "Nah, that ain't me. It's the wrong guy."
Try to keep it hush hush.
Yeah, because growing up, especially in Stockton, it was like I never really like getting in fights anyway, and it was only if anyone would really try to press up on me, but no one ever did. I don't know. It was because like I don't think I look intimidating. I always thought it was probably because who my dad was. But then it was like, no, you look like a fucking asshole. No one wants to fucking fuck with you. Like, all right, cool. Like that's fine with me. I ain't tripping. Leave me alone.
I get that quite a bit.
I'm trying to do my own thing. I was like, you're not approachable. I was like, good. Don't approach me. Don't approach me right now. But yeah, good times. Good times.
So coming out of the military, getting back into like training jiu-jitsu, how did that transition go?
Man, that so coming back, my family just opened their gym the year before in Stockton, got their own place established. So I was getting the ball rolling training right away, and I was faring well, but my technique wasn't there, and I was forcing a lot of stuff. Super out of shape. Coming back. When I was in, I was trying to lift all the time, so I was trying to get heavy. And I was like, before I get out, I'm gonna be like 205, just yoked. Couldn't break 200. Like the biggest I got was 195, and I was trying. I was trying. So I came back. I was hella big, and I lost hella weight like in a month. I think I lost like fucking 15 pounds, probably in a couple weeks. But I was just getting my ass kicked. At least that's what it felt like. So the first year transitioning, coming back to training hard, and then having to transition back into civilian life, it was a fucking roller coaster. Trying to figure out what I wanted as far as a career, my life goes. And then coming back, having to do the whole family thing and trying to see where I'm going from here was pretty stressful. I almost quit, honestly.
Almost quit jiu-jitsu?
I almost quit training. Yeah, just because like I don't see myself doing this. I don't see myself getting to where I am now, honestly. Right. Just because at the time, again, I was trying to transition back into civilian life. I was fucking going from job to job, seeing what I liked. I knew I didn't want to go to school yet. And then, my daughter was just born a couple years before that, so she was, a baby, right? So there was a lot of things on my plate, and I didn't think I could really handle it at the time. But I kept training because my daughter, she was on the mats all the time. My family was already on the mats. And my baby mama, she started training. She started liking it a lot. So she was like, you want to go train today? And I'm like, no, not really. She's like, come on, let's just go. Because she'd be itching and antsy. It's like, all right, like, let's go. And the next thing you know, I started to fall in love with it a little bit more. Because now it's like, okay, I can see the whole family aspect of it.
It's a little bit different.
It's a little different. It's not just about me anymore.
Yeah.
Especially when I was younger, it's like just focusing on being a straight killer. Like it was easy. I didn't have to worry about anybody else.
Right.
Now it's like, oh no, I got to worry about other people. I have to take care of people. Not just other people. I have to learn how to take care of myself. And that's a whole different ball game on its own, So self-care is important. I've learned that just recently, that I've been neglecting it this whole time. But the better part of the year so far has been getting better. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Good. So when did you decide this was going to be, or how did you becoming the head instructor? You're the owner of this one?
Part owner.
Part owner.
Part owner. Javier Gomez, he's a head owner. He's a head guy as far as our affiliation goes. But so it's like growing up, I always had a dream of running my own gym and then living in it one day. It was like that was the thing, you know. Especially how I grew up. Like this is all I wanted to do. And then I didn't see that for myself in high school or especially right after I came back. But I came back in 2017. The end of that year, probably the beginning of 2018, I remember I was bullshitting with my best friend, Nico. He trains out in Stockton at my dad's place. We were bullshitting in my apartment one day, and I told him and my baby mama, I was like, in 5 years, I'm giving myself 5 years. I'm going to run my own gym. I'm going to run a gym. I'm going to teach full time. And my best friend, he's all hyping me up. And then my baby mama, she was like, all right, well, how are you going to pay the bills? How are you going to do this? I'm like, I don't know, but I'm going to figure it out. I'm going to do it some way. But I was really just fucking blowing smoke up in the air. I was just talking shit at the time. You know, like that's what I want. You know, like that's what I'm going to work towards, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to fucking do it. And then next thing you know, a couple of years passed by. I was competing a lot. I had a really good run. And then I started, you know, competing a lot more and then started taking training full-time seriously, you know. So I would like work part-time jobs and just train 2-3 times a day, every fucking day.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. Like all my free time was devoted to just getting better at my craft. And then Javier, we had met when I was a teenager, 14, 15 years old. We started training back then. We were actually both blue belts together at the time. It was pretty funny. He had already had a few gyms opened up, and I was teaching for him in Brentwood. By the time I was thinking about doing this full time, teaching for him about a couple of days out of the week, and I was teaching in Stockton. Found out he was opening this place up, so I was kind of in the middle of deciding whether I was going to keep doing this or start a career. You know, before I came here, I actually applied to Stockton PD, and I was already well on my way to do the phone interview with the investigator or whatever. I missed the call twice because I was trying to hear back from Javi about here. And at the time, he was like, hey, like, I'm about to be in Turkey for a week. Like, is it okay if I call you when I get back? I was like, sure. Week went by, I can miss 2 calls from the investigator. I was like, fuck, man. He leaving me messages like, hey, if you don't answer the next call, like, we're gonna pull your resume. So, okay, so he called and asked, and I told him, hey, I'm just kind of waiting on something to happen. Like, do you mind if you can give me a call back or whatnot, and then I'll let you know if I want to keep going with this. He's like, yeah, no problem. So Javi comes back, I meet him over here, and it started off just we agreed that I would just teach, like the morning classes during the week, and then help out like cleaning in the front desk. I was like, that's fine, that's cool. Like anything to get me in here, So as soon as I got that deal, called the guy that was interviewing me. I was like, hey, you can pull my resume. Just if you want to hold on to it, just in case I decide to come back, please do that. I was like, yeah, we'll hold it for the year. So, all right, cool. Never called him back. Then I started teaching here in the mornings, and then there's this guy, Al Lagura. He's the owner of Want versus Need. He had started training with Javi and Manteca, and he would come every so often, like take my classes. And then he was like convincing me, like, hey, like if this is what you want to do, like tell Javi that you're available to teach all the classes, not just the morning ones, or not just substituting if someone is out, So, all right, cool. So I started doing that, talked to Javi, pitched him, basically sold him, pitched to him that, hey, I'm your guy. Like I could be the guy here. And it ended up working out. And then for the first year I was here, I was just shadowing Javier and Al with whatever they were doing as far as the business side goes, and learning how to make merch and still teaching classes. So I was just running around all the time. There would be nights, like 2, 3 nights where I wouldn't go home. I would just be here, sleep on the mats, have extra change of clothes with me, start the next day, teach all day, and then all night go to Al's house and work or go to Javi's house and work and just repeat the same process. So it was a fucking hustle in the beginning.
Grind.
Yeah, and then I came here and I only had 2 students. Only 2 students. Yeah, it was one kid, well, 2, but he had a baby brother, and I don't really count him. And then another one, Kyle, he still trains, and he doesn't have hip flexors and he doesn't have feet, so he's in a wheelchair. So trying to get people to come in and train with just a kid and a guy with no feet is a hard sell. Hard sell to pitch to people to try to come over here. So it's a lot of hard work. But now I have a good core group of guys that came in and I sat them down. I talked to them. I was like, hey, dude, like, I'm going to get you guys where you want to be. You just have to trust me.
Right.
You know, like this is small right now, but we're going to grow. And a year later, we're still here, still thriving. My guys are doing great. Yeah. Place is built up. I think we have close to 80 students now.
Nice.
So when we started with 2. Now we got 80.
That's good.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Pretty big team.
There's a lot of hustle behind the scenes that people don't realize that you have to do, right?
A lot of groundwork. It's a lot of putting yourself out there, you know, and I'm not that kind of guy to really do that. I like to keep to myself most of the time. But man, gotta do it. If you're the face, you have to sell. You know?
I have my own business. I have a swimming pool service.
Sick. And
that was like one of the things at the beginning was like, fuck, I don't like going to people.
Yeah.
Right. Like, if they call, cool. If they don't, cool. Right.
Yeah.
But then you're like, well, I need to answer the phone because I need people to pay the bills.
Exactly. So it was a fucking challenge, man. And plus, it's like, I'm not one, I don't do small talk very well, especially with like people that may want to come in and train. You know, it's like, either you're going to come and train or you're not. Right. Now it's to the point where people come in and like, all right, well, if you want to come try the class, come at this time and we're good. You know, and the mats are full. They could just see. I don't really have to do much talking. I just let kind of the work speak for itself now.
Right.
So, but in the beginning, man, I hated it. I fucking hated talking to people. It was such a chore.
You get accustomed to it, I guess.
Yeah, you get accustomed. Like now, when people come in to ask questions, I have a whole script in my head that I just follow. Like, all right, as long as I hit these 3 things, like the conversation is good, then I could walk away.
Mm-hmm.
You know. But now that I have a front desk guy, he does most of the talking for me. My baby mother, she was helping out for a cool minute. She's working at the Modesto Manteca gym right now. She was doing a lot of the talking, but she's not a real people person either. Yeah, so I was doing most of the talking.
I met her the day I came for
the last time. Yeah.
I was like, man, she seems kind of like maybe a little mean. Like,
you can say, bro, she seems like a fucking bitch. Hey, I love you, dog, but you're fucking a bitch. She has an RBF for sure. Yeah, but once you get to talking to her, she's pretty cool. She's pretty cool.
Yeah, that day I was rolling with I think his name's Adam, the fireman.
Yeah.
I was rolling with him and she was kind of coaching him through some of the stuff. And I was like, geez, she's just like giving it, like letting him know, like, do this. I'm like,
yeah.
But I mean, it was cool for him. You know what I mean?
No, for sure.
Coaching him through some of those situations.
For sure.
I mean, I think then I was still a white belt too. So it was like, I was still learning.
Yeah.
So listening to, it's funny, like, I'll listen to whoever's coaching the other person.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah, and kind of try to fucking counteract whatever they're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I think I competed at the Jiu-Jitsu World League a while back, and when I walk out onto the mat, my coach is like talking to me so that I could focus in on what he's saying.
Yeah.
So I could hear him and drown out everything else.
Yeah.
And like somewhere midway through that match, it changed to their corner.
It's the other guy.
And it was just everything that they were saying. I was like, I want him to do that. Why would you tell him to do that? It played out the way I wanted it to.
Hell yeah.
I won, but
That's what's up.
it's crazy how I focus on that.
Yeah.
To kind of, okay, here's the path they're trying to go. They're trying to trap me here.
Yeah.
They're trying to open this door.
I know what you're going for. Plus, I'm sure experienced coaching too, being able to listen and then know exactly what they're talking about. Oh no, I'm gonna stop that.
Mm-hmm.
It's good. Yeah, I love that.
That was cool. It was cool meeting her, but she definitely portrays the mean girl.
Yeah, for sure. When she gets to talking to her, she's pretty nice. Yeah, when she's sitting there, she just looks like a fucking cold piece of work. I'll be honest. I'm not gonna stun on anything. She could be a fucking real grade A B word. But at the same time, I could be a fucking asshole too. So there's a balance there.
Yeah.
So it's okay. Yeah, it's all right.
You guys have a happy medium.
We have a good understanding. We have a good understanding.
So you talked about you competing.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen some of the videos that you posted on your IG about you competing, but how has that gone in the recent past?
So let's say this past year, I haven't been competing much. Past year and a half, 2 years now that I've been here, because I've just been focused on trying to build up the gym, and then after that, once I got a good group of people established, focusing on them. So it took a lot of time away from me. But I'm still training. It's just I have a different goal now, Whereas before, where I was training, competing all the time, I didn't have to really worry about too many people, But it's cool to see all these younger guys or people coming in have that fire to want to compete. Because now I get more gratification with their wins or how they do,
Yeah.
Competing for me now is different. A few years ago when I was competing really heavy, it was all right, this is the grind. This is what I want to do, know? But then after I got here, it was okay, I'm taking kind of a different role now, And as far as competition goes for me, it's just all about experience. This past year, I've dabbled in a couple competitions here or there and haven't fared so great, but I already went in knowing look, I may not do too hot today, but I'm going to go out there, have fun. I'm here with my students. We're just going to have a good time, So really it's just whenever I compete, it's just to show, everybody hey man, it doesn't fucking matter if you win or lose. Just go out there, do your thing. You do your best.
Yeah.
That's all you can really ask for. Right. It's my fault if I didn't prepare anyway. But most of the time, especially this past year, because I was going into competitions knowing I'm not prepared at all, but I just want to get out there. That's the thing. But I still love competing. That is still in the cards for me in the future. It's just, again, I'm taking more joy in seeing everybody else come up and then do well.
Right. You guys have quite a few that compete out of here, right?
Yeah, I have a good number.
I've seen you guys
good number
in the team pictures. There's quite a few heads. I'm like, geez,
yeah. We have a good number of color belts and then white belts that have that fire lit under them that want to fucking get out there. But how it is. But younger guys are all gung ho in the beginning. It's trying to keep them coming. Right. Because they'll do a tournament here or there. They'll go hard for a month, 2 months, and then fall off for 2 weeks.
Find a girl.
What are you doing? Exactly. It's either a girl or their pussy hurts or someone at their job pissed them off, so they had to be at home and let off steam. They're sick. It's like, bro, just come train. Just come train. Or my favorite one is, oh, like I'm hurt right now, so I'm not gonna come in and train. I was like, all right, well, if you're hurt, like you could sit on the wall and watch.
Yeah.
Like watching is still training. I encourage that a lot. Especially it's like, all right, well, if you're hurt and you're just gonna sit at home and bullshit, right? Like you could just be here and bullshit and fucking watch some shit and probably learn something.
Right.
Because at the same time, people think that it's all just physical preparation. For me, this is probably the most important muscle to work on, especially for jiu-jitsu. I feel like every time I've gotten hurt or I had to like take a little bit of a break because of injuries, I would show up, I would watch, drill what I can. And then by the time I was able enough to roll again or get back on the mats, to start fucking like going at it, like I was way better, because now my mind is moving at a fast rate. My body could like really adjust to it.
Right.
Whereas if your body's fucking moving, your mind is too slow. It's like, what the fuck am I doing? It's that mind body connection. I'm really big on that for sure. Yeah. So I try to, people are hurt, people are sick, like just sit on the fucking mats. Sit on the wall, don't say shit and watch. That's it. And then I have a few guys that do that. Yeah, just show up. Like, you guys fucking pay for this service. Like, why wouldn't you show up just to get this information? Like, I'm probably not going to teach it again. But I will. Yeah. I do like this thing where I stay on a concept for 2 months. Like right now, we're working on Kimura traps. We've only been working on Kimura traps for 6 weeks now. We have about 3-4 weeks left until I go to another thing. Traditionally, you go to a school and they'll teach you like a move one night, technique for 20 minutes and a roll for about 40. I don't really have my guys roll during the week. I save their rolling for Friday nights and Sunday nights at open mats. Yeah, it's the skill development.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So we just do a lot of drilling, drill, and then it's safer too. I feel like there's less injuries.
Yeah.
And people aren't burnt out by the end of the week. A lot of benefits to that. But yeah,
I think we do we do a lot of drilling, and then depending on our coach, he like maybe the last 15 minutes we'll do like whatever we drilled that day.
Yeah,
we'll start in that spot.
Yeah,
and then go live.
Do like some situational work.
Yeah. And it's real simple. Like say we're in half guard, I have to end up on top or sweep or something.
Yeah,
and top guy has to keep me there or submit me.
Yeah,
and then if there's a sweep, then it's over. You move on. The next one comes in.
Yep.
And we do it for 10 or 15 minutes, and then that's it.
Yeah, then it's good.
But we started doing open mat on Friday night for our gym, and we don't have a whole bunch of practitioners yet. Like our gym's two years old now, or the program's 2 years old now.
Yeah,
that's right. So we don't have a lot of. We have on a good day, like maybe like 15 students. And on a bad day, like 4 or 5 maybe.
Yeah, that happens.
So like last night for open mat, it was just 4 of us. And then one left, and then it became 2 long rounds and rest. And
it happens. Like sometimes, like last night, it was a pretty good group. I want to say last week on last Sunday, we had a pretty small group, but we still were rotating, getting our rounds in, trying to get new looks. I enjoy when a lot of people come to train, but I enjoy it more when it's less. It's more concentrated. I could focus a lot more on probably a specific technique or sequence, or maybe I'm like watching and studying one of my guys to find holes to figure out how to help them out,
Yeah.
I like doing that most of the time. Well, I like doing that when there's a lot of people too, but mainly as I just like seeing people get thrown around. It's fucked up if there's like a big group, like especially last night, man. It's pretty gnarly. People were getting thrown and tossed. It was pretty funny. Um, but I like watching and studying like everyone. Yeah, that's joyful for me. You know, there's some days where, like, especially if I'm like sick or something, and I absolutely can't roll, I just sit on the wall during an open mat and watch everyone and just take mental notes. But hey, like, come over here, try this out really quick, and then go and they'll hit it. It's like, oh, it worked. We're like, fuck yeah, that's what's up. Keep doing it. You know, little wins.
There's
Little
that
things.
little gratification that you get from like you seeing it and then letting them know that it's there, and then them finally seeing that path that you've already envisioned for them. You know, like there's these steps,
or at least the start of it. Like I try to emphasize to them, like, look, what I go for, what such and such goes for, what you go for is going to be completely different. You know, so I give everyone a lot of creative freedom. So it's like, I'll show you the start to this and the pathway we could take, but we know other options. Right. So maybe you don't want to take this option. Go to option B or C then. Make up your own sequence. You know, be creative with it. Just have fun.
Find what works.
Find what works for you, because my body type is different. Your body type, his body type, her body type, how you think is probably a lot faster or slower than some people here. Right. It's not always the biggest, strongest guy in the fucking room that's gonna beat everybody's ass. You know.
Oh yeah.
It's whoever has the best mix of strength, technique, IQ, and probably like pace, right? Pace is a big thing.
Yeah.
And then everyone has different combinations of all four of those things, you know?
Right.
You know, some guys are just super athletic and don't have a lot of technique and can keep a pace. Whereas some guys aren't as athletic, but they know a lot of shit. They're super technical and they can slow you down.
Yeah.
You know, so that's what I like to see. Everyone's games start to come to life once they start feeling more comfortable.
Yeah.
You know? So I love watching the development of everybody. Hell yeah.
It's good.
It's pretty fun.
It's gratifying.
Yeah. Super, super gratifying.
Gi, no gi.
Gi, no gi. Man, I like both. For same reasons, but obviously a little different. Like for the gi, I like it because I'm able to use different handles and stuff, play different guards, be a little bit more creative and artistic. Whereas in no-gi, I can do the same stuff, a little more slippery. I just have to be a little like more slick, right? So for me, I like no-gi because I can finesse a little bit more. Whereas in gi, it's like I could show my technical prowess. You know, I can just go for a whole bunch of crazy shit. I'm like, dude, what the fuck was that? Like, I don't know, but we'll run the tape back and I'll study it. And we'll try and hit it again, you know? So I love both. As far as maybe competing goes, man, that's actually a pretty hard question. I like both. It's 50-50 for me. Yeah. You know, if there's 10 rounds, I'm rolling. If there's only 10 rounds and we could roll both and I'm rolling 5 in the gi and 5 in no gi, there's going to be even split. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. That's actually how it was last night.
I lean a lot to the gi now.
Do you? Yeah.
Before I was the one guy in the fucking picture that was no gi and everybody else was the gi. I'm like, all the coffee crews at the beginning. Fuck, I didn't even take a gi.
Naturally too, I'm coming from wrestling. I'm like, yeah, love no gi. Right? And everybody always assumes that I'm more of a no-gi guy too because of my wrestling background. I'm like, no, it's like I like both. But then I meet a lot of people. Like, I like no-gi more. I'm like, let's do more no-gi. I'm like, why do you like no-gi? And then it's always the same thing. I was like, well, I don't know how to make grips. I was like, well, fucking learn how to make grips.
Yeah.
And then next thing you know, you learn how to make a grip. I was like, fuck, I love no-gi. I love gi. I'm like, geez, okay. That was fast.
I think the funniest moment I have with putting the gi on, I was at Coffee Crew, and one of the black belts, he usually has his way with me, right?
Uh-huh.
And for I don't know, I hooked his sleeve and I pinned his arm on his belly. I was in his guard, but I was pinning his arm against his belly, and like he couldn't do anything. And it was like that for like 3 minutes. He was just working on getting his arm back.
Fuck yeah.
Right. And I was like, guess who learned how to grab the gi?
Like, guess who knows some shit now? Hell yeah. No, I like both of them. I like both. For me, it's like I'm very big on. I'm like an artsy kind of guy. I grew up in like an artistic family. My dad, he's a really good artist, draws and plays a lot of music. My mom, she actually runs her own dance group at my dad's gym. So growing up, we were always, in the arts, right? So for me now, especially now that I'm older, I kind of view jiu-jitsu more as like an art form rather than a martial art now. Just because, what I'm doing, it looks cool to certain people and they're taking to it, So it's like, okay, well, if I'm able to move like this and you enjoy it, then that's cool for me. At least you're entertained,
Right.
And then now you're inspired to probably try it,
Yeah.
Or maybe do something similar. So I see it more now as a form of expression. Yeah, not too hard body anymore. I'm not too aggressive, so that's probably a good thing.
So outside of jiu-jitsu, what's something about you that people that know you from jiu-jitsu may not know about you?
And outside of jiu-jitsu, probably nothing much. I don't really delve into too many things. I'm actually trying to figure that out right now. Thinking about maybe going into graphic design. I designed our shirts and printed those out. It's a lot of things you could do with jiu-jitsu nowadays. It's super lucrative, and there's not just before it was like, oh, I just have to be a fucking competitor, right? That's the way to go, But now it's like, no, you could be a business owner or you could be a coach, or you don't have to do any of that. You could just make merch on the side and then fucking still be involved in community like that, So for me, I'm kind of just floating around right now. I'm just enjoying it. Plus, I'm still younger than most people, so I'm just taking my time to really enjoy this journey. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Plus, since I'm here, I don't know how long this in particular is gonna last. So we're just trying to ride and build it up and see how far I can take it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So really nothing too much outside of jiu-jitsu that I'm doing. All my whole life is focused on
everything's focused on this right now.
Everything is focused on this. So
I mean, you're doing great.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
Like, coming that one time, seeing the gym, then I was like, geez, this is pretty nice. Like the whole vibe.
Thanks.
It's cool.
Heck yeah. Trying to, especially, growing up training, we would always go to like these rink-a-dink ass fucking warehouses to train, or, train in the backyard on the grass, or go to the fucking park at like 5 a.m. And, like before I got here, seeing my parents open up their spot was like a really fucking, it was like a milestone just for the family in general, just because we were always hopping around from like gym to gym, or like high school gym. They would like let us because, the wrestling coaches were there. They fuck with us. Or, another gym, they would let us fucking train there for free because we'd be teaching Eskrima on like the weekends or something. Or just at our house. So being able to see my family open up and establish a place that people can go to that's not our house or someone else's spot was amazing. So for me to be here and be able to do the same thing on my own is honestly kind of mind-blowing. Kind of mind-blowing, really.
Gives you a different perspective, right?
Different perspective. Not only that, it's like I said, 5-6 years ago, I just threw it out in the air and I was just bullshitting, and then now it's real,
Yeah.
like, if anything, this is my childhood dream, and not a lot of people could say that. So I'm just grateful that I'm in this position.
Yeah.
Now what comes next after this? Not exactly sure. Maybe I'll open my own spot. Maybe I'll branch off, or this will end up being grow to bigger than what it is, and we'll have to move locations because of whatever reason. I know that nothing in life is permanent, so I'm just enjoying the ride. Yeah, see where it takes me.
Yeah.
Yeah, as long as I don't end up in the hospital or in jail, I'm good.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's it. I just gotta end up back in my bed and we're straight.
How long has your dad been coaching?
Man, my dad's been long time. He started with eskrima and boxing when he was growing up. So he was, when he was coming up as a teen and a young adult, before he had me, he was already instructing as far as martial arts goes, but then jiu-jitsu or grappling, wow, probably since I think he had really started diving into teaching grappling by the time I got into high school, so like 2009, 2010. And he would just he would be combining the grappling techniques that we learned with the eskrima. So we developed our own street ready technique or street ready fucking curriculum to help people, like kids that are getting bullied or some shit.
Right.
Because we would get a lot of parents that like, hey, can you teach my son how to fucking defend himself type of thing? So I'd bring him in, and I'd be their training partner at Uki. And then next thing you know is all right, now we're stick fighting at the park, or we're fucking grappling on the grass. Then it started just going more into just straight jiu-jitsu, straight grappling, catch wrestling, all that stuff. So I would say 2008, 2009 is when he started. And 2016 is when my parents finally opened up their own spot. Yeah. So long ass time. It's a long time coming for them. I think for them it was when they had me, they were pretty young. I think my parents were 17, 18 when they had me. So by the time my brother and sister came around, they were already older, but my dad he was working for the county at the time, had a really good job. My mom is working for Kaiser. So they had already had careers established.
Right.
I think what helped my dad kind of push him to do it full time or do it more, he had to get retired out because he had fucking gnarly ass knee surgeries, just past injuries from training and shit that he didn't take care of when he was younger. So after his third knee surgery, I remember he'd be rolling around in the wheelchair in the backyard, watering his plants, talking about, all right, now's the time. I'm gonna start fucking, thinking about opening up a spot or really focus on building the group. Buffalo Black Brotherhood, which is which is BBB. That's the name of the group or the family, I guess. He wanted to really expand that and make that to what it is now. So I'm happy for them. Happy to see that they came all this way. Happy to see that all the hard work paid off. Yeah. There was early mornings and fucking late nights, just grinding. Growing up, he worked construction when I was a kid up until high school. So he would wake up 3 a.m, lift weights for an hour, train. I'd be up with him. Then he would go to work, come back at 5, 6 o'clock, work out for an hour, and then go out and train for 2, 3 hours, come back, fall asleep, repeat.
Rinse, repeat.
Yeah. And I mean, he had his own problems coming up, his own vices and shit. I'm sure if you ask him, he'll be more than happy to tell you about it. But I mean, yeah, just to see where he came from, to see the idea blow up to what it is now, I'm pretty proud of him, for sure.
That's cool.
Yeah, so it's nice to see. It's nice to see, and to me, it's growing up, like all this shit was normal, you know, training, um, being involved in it all the time was normal. I didn't know how much we were doing compared to everybody else. You know, just because everybody we were around, they're kind of doing the same thing. But now I see it as more like, oh no, it's fucking, we were actually really doing something. And to see how far we've come, and then to see how far the people that have, you know, followed our journey and been with us this whole time it's been really gratifying.
That's cool.
Yeah, for sure.
So, a couple more questions.
Sick.
What's your most memorable moment in your jiu-jitsu journey so far?
My most memorable moment? Man, I have a lot. I have a lot of memorable moments. I think like as far as competing goes, or just in general. In general, my most memorable moment was I would say for me, probably, man, there's so many. They're all memorable to me, you know?
Let's say one in general and one competing.
One in competing, one in general. One in general, I'd say seeing my daughter on the mats. Yeah, her training, and her deciding to train because she wants to do it.
She's a little savage.
Right, she is. She's pretty fucking tough. I don't try to blow her head up all the time, you know.
Don't let her watch this.
Yeah, I'm not gonna let her watch this shit. No, she does fucking great. It's a lot of people ask me like, oh, when are you gonna start really like going hard on her, taking it seriously?
How old is she?
She's 7.
How old was she when she started?
So she was already like walking on the mats when she was like 3, 4 years old. So she was already like around, basically. And then when she had started to really get into it, like doing the class and taking it serious, she was like 4 or 5. That was back in my parents' gym. And then now it's like, okay, I push her during practice, but I don't want to focus a lot on her, you know, because for me personally, it's like, it's kind of fucked up if the coach is only focusing on his kid, you know what I'm saying? Like I focus on trying to just treat her like any of the other students, which I think helps out a lot, because all the students tend to work together, you know, and I like that they don't really isolate each other. 1 and 2, again, I don't really push her or go hard on her yet, because, you know, like we see it all the time, especially in the wrestling community. You have all those fucking parents that push their fucking kids to the fucking brink. I was one of those kids, and I was like, man, I don't want that for you. Like, not right now. And if you want to take this seriously, I'm gonna let me know. You know, because who knows? Like, maybe she may want to start dancing more. You know what I'm saying? Because she does Tahitian and hula dancing at with my mom during the week. So maybe along the line, she'll probably just want to do that and not do jiu-jitsu as much. You know, like, I don't want to fucking put all this time into it, and then next thing you know, it's like, oh, I don't want to do this anymore. It's like, man, what the fuck? Like, but I'm not gonna say that, you know. I don't want to make her feel bad. So I just want her to make the decision on her own. And right now, she's decided that she just wants to train more. So as long as she's making the decision, then I'm all good for it.
Right. As long as she's happy.
As long as she's happy. As long as she's happy. She's enjoying it. And she's enjoying, like, you know, because she has all of her little friends and stuff too. So being able to socialize, and then them talking, you know, not just in the training room, but seeing each other like on the weekends or during the week outside, just hanging out. I didn't really have that coming up as a kid, because it was always just training.
Right.
So I wanted to be able to have, you know, a childhood at the end of the day. Right. So but for me, I love it when she's on the mats, because it makes me feel like, you know, not necessarily the torch is getting passed down, but she's honing in on what we're thriving in, you know. So I would say that's more memorable for me. That and plus having the whole family encompassed in this, you know, my family, you know, my daughter's mother, she's still in this, and I'm happy she's still a part of it. Friends, you know, that are still training. I love that for them. So being my most memorable thing is just seeing everybody still thriving in this, you know, especially for how long we've all been doing this for.
Right.
Like, fuck, man, it's been a long fucking time. Now that I think about it, it's like I've been doing this shit basically my whole life, and I'm still doing it. Man, it's a great life to live, you know. Now, as far as competing goes, most memorable moments is probably winning and defending submission pro tour title. Yeah, that's when I was competing pretty heavy, and I remember just preparation and the months leading up to it was pretty intense. Just because, you know, like training is one thing, but we all have outside lives, right? So I was still trying to manage my outside life, and it wasn't really like going too great. Honestly, it was like it was a pretty shitty situation. So for me to be able to still overcome some adversity and then end up on top and then be able to repeat it and do it again and still compete at a high level was pretty cool for me because in my head, like, all right, well, like I'm one of those guys, you know. For the longest time, I'm like, damn, I don't think I'm like that good. I don't think I'm that good at all compared to everyone I'm seeing or everyone I'm around. And then, you know, I mean, it's just a belt, but it's just the fact that I proved it to myself that I could fucking do this. Especially coming back from the military and trying to adjust. It was like a really, I got really insecure. Fucking, you know, like I said, I wanted to quit. Right? It was because I didn't think I had it anymore. Like I didn't think I was. I just felt like a bitch, honestly. So for me to be able to kind of just rise up from that and then fight through my demons was a pretty big deal. Pretty big deal, especially for how I grew up and then kind of how my family is. It was like I kind of see my place in my family now as someone to break a lot of the generational curses that we've had coming up. Not saying that, you know, my father hasn't, but he's still working on his stuff, right? I have a chance to do it better. You know, that's all I'm trying to do.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to win. I'm just trying to be better. Yeah.
Be better every day.
Be better every day. 1%. That's all you gotta do is 1%. Adds interest, right?
It's crazy to hear you talk about like kind of like self-doubt, right?
Yeah.
Because like the day that I walked in for Coffee Crew, that day that you guys hosted, you were like not intimidating, but you have that aura of you, like you're hard, right? And like listening to you today is like kind of total different perspective of what I thought that first day when I first walked into where we're at today or talking, you know?
Yeah.
But to hear you talk about like wanting to give up because you weren't sure, but seeing you like through IG, seeing your stories, seeing you post clips of you rolling, I'm like, even the day that I watched you roll at Coffee Crew, I was like, fuck, this guy's like on another level.
Oh man, thanks.
You know, and to watch your clips, I'm like, fuck, like he's fucking fast. He does this, he does that, and I'm like, God, like it's inspiring to see how good you are, and then to hear that you have these other issues that you still work your way through every day, and still be out there and do what you do for everybody else that's coming into your school.
Yeah, no, thank you, man. I appreciate that. No, it's a big thing. I talk about it with all my guys. Like I let them know, Because we'll have spells where people like be in kind of weird moods or they're going through stuff, and I'll talk to my students and I'll tell them like, look, dude, like fucking, I'm fortunate enough to where I'm able to do this, every day. Like this is my life. Like everybody coming in here, like this is just a part of your day. Don't use this as a means to get away from anything, really. Just kind of work through yourself. But at the end of the day, you still have a job to go back to, a wife to go back home to, a husband or kids to look after, right? Like there's still life outside of this, like this isn't your life necessarily. Now, if you want it to be, you can, right? Like I'm living proof that that's possible, but it's not easy. You're going to have to give up a lot, and it's not what you think it is. It's not glamorous. It's not, you don't have free time. You don't have too much time to yourself, if at all, and I would rather be doing this anyway. But I try to tell everybody, look, just if anything, like I don't push anyone here to compete. That is your goal. That's what you want to do. Now, if you let me know you want to compete, perfect. Right, I'll have that in the back of my head. But at the same time, whether you're a hobbyist or you're trying to be a competitor or just someone that has specific goals in mind, everyone's at this. I have everyone at the same standard. You know what I'm saying? So we come in here, we train, we work on our shit, and we go back home. Again, for me, fortunate enough that I'm able to be here all the time and just live at the gym. Like this is my life. But I'm transparent enough. I'm more than, how do I say it? I'm more than understanding that there's life outside of this. And sometimes that's more important.
Yeah.
It's definitely more important. Especially, like self-care, mental health, that's a big fucking thing. I didn't know how important that was up until, a couple years ago, fairly recently, that like you gotta take care of your shit. You know what I'm saying? Or if not, you're gonna start spiraling down, get into the same habits you were before. Just doing the same bullshit that is gonna lead you to a place you're gonna have to build yourself back up from. Like for me, it's like, all right, well, I made that mistake before. I'm big on not making the same mistake twice. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of the times whenever I'm fucking in a rut, I was like, okay, how did I deal with this in the past? What worked for me? What got me here? Okay, I need to take a different route. It's going to take some time. It's going to take some work, but I'm the only one that's going to be able to do this. No one's going to do it for me.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So yeah, especially coming back from the military and then having to go through that, as I was always I wasn't looking for help, but I was like, damn, like why is no one fucking helping me out with this shit? Like why isn't there a fucking a blue book to help me out with this shit? You know what I'm saying?
It's hard because part of that, like, no one knows how you're feeling, and then sometimes, sometimes we're too macho to admit that you needed help, or or ask for it, and you have that concept in your head that why isn't someone asking me what help I need when I'm not asking for it? No one knows necessarily that
no one knows that you're going
that you're hurting, or that you have these thoughts, because you keep them to yourself, and then you have this persona that you're trying to upkeep. Because you're the instructor, so you shouldn't have feelings. Right?
You shouldn't show that kind of weakness or something, or you have to be, hard all the time. Fuck, dude, growing up, that's kind of what the stigma was.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like even now, like my dad still does the same thing, and it's I look at it and I was like, man, like, that's not me. That's just too much energy for me. I'm wasting too much energy just trying to emulate that.
Yeah.
Right? I was like, I don't have to do that. I could be pretty transparent with my feelings and be able to control them, just as long as, I'm handling it the right way when no one's watching. You know what I'm saying? Because that's pretty important too, right? Being able to do the right things when no one is around. Like that's difficult in its own right, because that's where the discipline comes in, no one's watching, so you have this time to kind of fuck around and fuck up if you really wanted to, you
Right.
know. But I mean, if it doesn't align with the goals or what I'm trying to do as far as long term or what I'm doing now, then it's out of the picture. You know, I gotta. There's too much riding on this rather than me focusing on like, you know, trying to do some bullshit to numb the pain, right? Um, I'm a lot more open now. You know, therapy has helped a lot. Being able to trust people, you know, with information to kind of like work through these things, right? Just to get advice, right? Has helped a lot. So it's been a roller coaster for sure. But again, I'm very big on trying to keep the chicken straight, you know, really big on that, especially from where I came from and how growing up, I've seen people work through certain things, you know, fucking, like my dad was a drug addict for a good part of my childhood. And then after he got clean, turned to alcohol, fucking uncles and aunties still on the shit right now. You know what I'm saying? Fucking friends all doped up. And I'm like, fuck you, I can't even help you out. You know what I'm saying? But I wish you the best.
Yeah.
It's pretty sad, honestly. But at the same time, it's like, all right, well, fucking, I see that at least some people are trying to do better, you know? Like, the best I could do is do better for myself at the end of the day. And it's not even just me. I have to do better so that my daughter sees somebody to, you know, she has someone to look up to, her mom, her grandparents. It's not just my life riding on it now. It's, you know, it's my, I don't want to say legacy, but it's definitely people I care about most.
Yeah.
You know, because if I'm doing a whole bunch of bullshit and making it seem like it's okay, then they're gonna do a whole bunch of bullshit and think it's okay.
Yeah.
You know, I can't have that happen.
Too much society today.
Yeah. Too much. People think that fucking, you know, people think they can talk shit and not get slapped. Well, guess what, motherfucker? Get the piece of shit out of you. You know what I'm saying? Nah, but no, it's mental health is important, man.
Yes.
You know, and then having to deal with, you know, not using substances or resort to alcohol or fucking partying to try to get away from that reality, right? It does it for a little bit, but you end up getting right back in that hole as soon as it starts to subside, you know?
Right.
So for me, it's been a lot of personal growth and development. Yeah.
Cool.
Hell yeah.
All right. So one last question.
Sick.
What advice do you have for the newer guys, the guys that are just getting started in their journey? People like me that are a little bit older.
Right, yeah. How old are you? Sorry.
I just turned 50.
Congratulations. Hell yeah, 50. That's what's up. I have a few students here. This guy, Ed, he's 54 now. I have a student here, Gary. He was like 63. And I just signed up a whole bunch of older ladies who are like in their late 40s, almost 50s now, starting to train. And they asked me the same thing. I was like, what did I focus on? Morning, baby. She just woke up. And I was like, look, just show up. Just showing up. The same advice I give all the young guys, all the kids. Just show up, you know, whether you're hurt, sick, tired, you don't want to be here, just show up. You know, and it's not just showing up just to be here. Because obviously showing up, you know, that's like half the work, right? If you just show up, the rest will do its job, you know. But show up and have an open mind, right? Be open to learning new things, be open to being wrong, you know, which is honestly probably what I would say is really important, you know, especially if you're new coming in. It's like, if you're one of those guys that go to YouTube University and fucking just look up a whole bunch of shit before class, you know what I'm saying? I want to try this out. It's like, all right, you can try it out, but if it don't work, don't be mad. You know what I'm saying? Like you can't be mad at yourself if you're trying new shit and it don't work. My favorite thing is like when I get people that come in and they're natural athletes, right? Or they come in, they're already pretty fucking in shape, and they're just getting their ass beat and they're getting winded. Like, dude, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing wrong. Da da da. Like, I need to go to the gym more. I need to work out, do this, that. I was like, no, you don't need to do that. You just need to slow it down. So calm
Yeah.
down. Just get your ass beat, figure out what's going on, and then work from there. You know, because if you start thinking too much, you know, and then you start losing track of what the fuck you're trying to do.
Right.
You know, you start going to this path, this rabbit hole, and you start thinking some other shit. Next, you know, you're not even talking about what you were originally trying to do anyway. You know,
Mm-hmm.
just show up, keep an open mind, accept the fact that you're gonna be wrong a lot of the time. You know, even myself.
I never heard that before, but I like that.
Yeah, just yeah, man. It goes with the ego too. A lot of people don't like to be wrong because they feel like, oh, fucking, you know, that hardness, I guess,
Yeah.
right? I was like, nah, man, it's fucking like if you're wrong, you're wrong. It doesn't matter. You know, that's why we're here. We're trying to fix it.
Yeah.
Right? Like if you're not doing something, it's probably because a small detail. Maybe your angle is wrong. Maybe you need a different grip. Maybe, you know, you just need to start it from a different position or have a different perspective.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because fucking if you accept that you're wrong, then your perspective is going to change.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? If not, and you're gonna be adamant about no, fucking, I'm not. It happens like this. Da, da, da. I was like, all right, well, like eventually you'll get it, but it's gonna take a lot longer for you to fucking be able to hone that skill, right? So just show up and accept that you're gonna be wrong most of the time. You know, try to apply that in life too. Honestly, if I knew that, if I was fucking telling myself that 3-4 fucking years ago, it would have saved me a lot of trouble. But yeah, that's the advice I would give. Show up and accept that you're gonna be wrong most of the time. Yeah.
Well, anything that we didn't cover that you want to get out there?
Man, no, not really. I mean, I talked a lot. Honestly, it's probably the most I've talked all week. To be honest with you. But you know, since we're plugging right now, come out to Tracy, 404 West Grand Line Road. Every Friday night and Sunday night, we have open mats at 6 p.m. Open to everybody. Okay, it doesn't matter gym affiliation, you know, race, color, sex. If you like the opposite sex, we don't give a fuck. Just come through. We have a good time. And shout out to Aspire to Inspire. Shout out to the Old Grappler podcast.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Shout out to One versus Need, Level Black. Shout out to the crew in Stockton. If you want to go to Stockton, show up Sunday mornings, 8 a.m. Sunday service. That's always lit.
What's your dad's gym?
Yeah, my dad's gym, Aries BJJ Stockton. Yeah, so go out there every Sunday morning. We call it Sunday service, 8 a.m. We go out there and we just fucking roll and have a good time. Pretty gnarly fucking rolls too. They're pretty fun.
Nice.
Yeah. Then that's it. Shout out to all the guys. Shout out to the black backs. And we'll be straight. Take it one day at a time.
Cool.
Oh, yeah.
I got one more thing for you. What size rash guard are you?
I'm a medium.
Perfect. So this is a gift from us, the podcast. Everybody has a journey.
Everybody has a journey. You're right. Fuck that. I like that. Thank you.
We're gonna get yours out there.
Appreciate you, man.
Yeah,
Thank
for
you.
sure.